it is the same truth, the same principles, the same ancient knowledge, but how he or she translates it in that society. In fact, Bhagavad Gita, as you rightly in the beginning asked the question, that Bhagavad Gita itself is the essence of the Upanishads. But how Sri Krishna brought that Vedic knowledge into the battlefield of life, into the marketplace of that life, into the confusions of the society at that time. What Poojya Gurudev has done, that when our society has moved into looking towards, the sciences and getting them, material sciences, not realizing that we had the greatest of all sciences, whether it was astrology, whether it's astronomy, cosmology, Ayurveda, Vastu, architecture, Shilpi Shastra, in every, even Vriksha Ayurveda. So many sciences we've had, but somehow over the period of time we were made to believe, because we lost the Sanskrit language, and if it stayed alive, it only stayed alive in the spiritual literature and the spiritual circles of scholars and saints. Other Sanskrit language was just wiped off. So we do not know our great heritage. So that even our way of thinking, the culture with which we were brought up, so that we could be free thinkers, and that's why be able to determine what is the essence, what is the truth. Somehow, with all our education, we've just got a track of mind, just guided in a particular direction. We do not have that lateral thinking anymore. We do not have that out of the box that everybody talks of in the corporate world. But imagine that centuries ago, what scientists have discovered now, there's enough evidence that the Indian scientists knew whether the earth was round. If you see all our architecture, long before Galileo, have always showed Bhudevi on Varaha Avatar as round. So did not the Indians know that the world was round? Do we need to know from Galileo that the world was round? No. It is true that these also, where it was not there, they discovered. So constantly we have been told that, your religion is this, your land of slaves basically. And since that has been going on for so many years, it has got so ingrained in our psyche that even the most glorious historical literatures of our world, historical representation, Ramayana, Mahabharata, brushed off as mythology, when there are so many sciences. I was in Columbia University itself. Some of the world's motivators, speakers and all were there to inaugurate a department on Vedic studies. The Western American professors there, they said that most of India, you just kind of worship your textbooks, not knowing that even in the Mahabharata, so many sciences, when our rishis have said that what's not there in the Mahabharata does not exist in the world. Everything from cloning is there. Today we know cloning. Everything from aircrafts and all are mentioned there. And people still wonder. And I was even told by the people in Columbia University.
Plastic surgery.
Plastic surgery. These are few things that are being revealed now. But what type of sciences have we got? Therefore, with Vishwa Vidyapeeth, Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth, hopefully the Sanskrit studies can be revived, and the enthusiasm in the study of Sanskrit as well as in learning these sciences. We are almost at the brink of extinction, where even those teachers and philosophers and scientists or scientific minded people have already probably gone. And to revive this entire, with a language that is lost, with a culture that is lost, even a certain way of thinking, a certain neuro pathway of our brain itself is lost. So the great tragedy that was taking place even during the time that Gurudev started, that we had not got the capacity really to understand our own spiritual knowledge. And that's why also some people said that, okay, this is not meant for common public because the interest is not there. But for him to bring it in the English language, the language today that we all are studying, a language which was not necessarily meant to think the way Sanskrit language teaches us to think and has a vocabulary to think. Maybe it did not have what the classical language like Latin had. But to bring that knowledge in English, and that too also with people with a mindset who has been brought up with that type of thinking and education, to bring that knowledge to that type of masses, that was his innovation. That was the Yuga Purusha master of that time. And that's how he taught us also, that in whichever way, the principles remaining the same, whether in different languages, even though that language may not have the vocabulary, develop it. In different stages of people's life, today also with smartphones and all that, with the information technology, as well as people having no time or traffic, etc., to be on the internet and to work from there. Times have changed. A lot of adaptation has to take place. And true to his spirit, Chinmaya Mission is always growing, adapting to the needs of the time.
What kind of a global role Chinmaya Mission under your leadership right now taking to solve contemporary problems? War, civil war, terrorism, Yemen, Syria, Iraq, wherever it goes.
Yeah.
So what's your message?
See, the thing is, if you transform an individual, only can you transform the world. After Poojya Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananda, whom we call Guruji, how widespread he took the mission, and so many learning centers have opened up in India as well as around the world. I wouldn't say at the moment in every country, but somehow the other Gurudev's work and reach has reached so many different areas. Even during my travels, when I used to go to some remote place in Africa, which probably I myself have never heard of, maybe some of you may have not even known that it exists. Even there, somehow or the other, those who have been influenced through Bal Vihar, the children program, through the Yuva Kendra, or once were in the Yuva Kendra, the youth, have gone and started, this classes, etc. When we say classes, means spread of this knowledge, spread of this culture, and spread of the essence of human development. We have also been able to reach out this knowledge very often, even in corporates, even in universities. Very often, the problem that the dichotomy that has been created in everybody's mind also, that our material life and our spiritual life go parallel. They don't integrate. We have made programs like Make It Happen.
Yes, that is Your Holiness leading global brand.
Yeah, which of course I must say that it was only inspired by Gurudev and the method of his reaching out, where we integrate the management techniques with the spiritual development or the spiritual values.
Managing management. another contribution.
Managing the manager is one of the titles
yes.
I have given for some of the talks.
Yes.
But, so, and this is all how Gurudev, even in his books like Manual of Self-Unfoldment, Art of Man Making, which he had conceived of so many years ago, is today also in contemporary times so relevant, with the dynamism in which he has spoken in that. He has made it so inspiring and so relevant that even if we read what he has written 50 years ago, it seems that he's talking to today's man. The language also is such. Its relevance also is such that it looks that, his teachings are so relevant for eternity, just like Krishna's Bhagavad Gita is so relevant 5,000 years. Even his methodology of teaching, which we carry, we do nothing special, really speaking. It is just that we carry his methodology of teaching, his inspiration, his sense of love for humanity that makes you automatically adapt. So his training was such that it is not that you have to do something special like this. There's no one technique that works everywhere. There's no one technique that will work at all times. But that principle, when it is ingrained, of being inspired, of having the principles firm, the knowledge very firm within you, and the availability of adaptability, that suddenly brings out, from all our acharyas of the mission and sevaks in the mission, that today you'll be surprised that we have started Shishu Vihars, where children from the first year of their life, we have mother and children coming. And it's amazing how these children can pick up these values, this culture. If they can learn Jack and Jill, why can't they learn, what to say, Om Sahana Bhavatu? Of some depth. I always joke, like, okay, what are they learning by saying that Jack and Jill went up the hill and then they came tumbling after and wonder what happened up there? Yeah. And if they can learn that in a foreign language, why can't they learn Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina from childhood, that may everybody be happy, may everybody be free of disease, may no one ever suffer. And such values, if it's brought in those children, it's amazing how to watch how they can learn. And today, because most of the children are left in daycare centers at the age of 2, we have to adapt so that we take in those children and from now on start giving them those cultural, those spiritual, those social interactions and values.
Your Holiness, I think it would only be proper to register the great name of Gurudev in the annals of history as the most cosmopolitan, most secular, spiritual personality of 20th century. And when we are making that kind of a remembrance, Your Holiness, would it be right to say that in India, across the world, many things have to be done to mark that great glory yet? Yes. What's your comment, Your Holiness?
Definitely. But as Gurudev always says, one's work speaks. So with all the dedication, with all the enthusiasm, with all the seva bhav that our devotees, members, and even people who have been touched by his life, when they would just express his love to the people around them, there's no greater evidence of his greatness. He was a man, as you say, so secular, so cosmopolitan, and at the same time completely, as you would say, a sevak of humanity. That's why he used to call himself also as sevak only. He gave title also to all those who are leaders as chief sevaks, as sevaks. And the spirit that he has demonstrated and taught is that when you serve, that itself is the sign, that itself is the evidence. And the best way we all who have been touched by his life, whether through his books, through his presence, and the millions of letters that he used to write even if he met someone, to inspire them, from children to the elderly, and the work that he has done from the villages to the medical sevas, and to the schools, and through the colleges, and through so many other programs that he has done, for us to continue that in his spirit, in his light, where his only dedication was that people should benefit.
People oriented.
Yes, people oriented. People must benefit. You know that he never took a following for himself. He could have bound people by followings. If any one of us is there in the mission, not because he has bound us, because we are grateful to him of what he has given us in our life. He gave freedom totally, even starting Sandipnis, for people who dedicate their life to spreading this work, this seva, this knowledge to humanity. Even from us, giving us everything, he demanded nothing. Not even to stay back in the mission. Mission was only an umbrella for people to serve more. He never created. He never even took a name for himself. Many a times, I'm sure you must have been at the felicitation sessions of him, and he would just receive it on behalf of the mission, and next thing is put somebody's else plaque in it and give it to that person. Took no laurels for himself, even though he stood out as the most glorious son among sons. So I think as far as he is concerned, his inspiration still continues, and the more we work with that spirit of service, spreading his knowledge, I think that transformation that we want to see in the world, that transition or that change that we want to see in the world, and his name, he was never interested in his name. He was more interested in what seva we can do. I remember there was one particular day I was with him. It happened to be my birthday. Now, being sannyasis, and that also Guru who teaches you that you are beyond birth, you are beyond death, what do you go and tell? But to be on your birthday, which makes you feel special, and I'm with Gurudev, I would have never gone and told him, Gurudev, it's my birthday today, give me your blessing. I had his blessings every day. So I would never even go and say, give your blessings, because I know I have it. I would just go and bow down to him. That day, by the time I could reach there for breakfast, I was late because people were calling and all that. And I'd called up the home that, please do not wait for me. Gurudev should eat on time. But he refused to eat because somehow he knew it was my birthday. And he did not eat. So I went and told people, how come you have not allowed him to eat? Why should he wait for anyone? They said, no, he refused to eat till you come. I didn't even know that he knew it was my birthday. So when I went and bowed down to him, I said, Gurudev, why have you not eaten? So he said, it's your birthday, how can I eat? And that day he gave me such a beautiful blessing when I bowed down to him. Now that he knows, and I bowed down to him and just sat there silently, seeking his words of wisdom and blessings. And he said something, do not count your age by the amount of years lived. Count your age by the amount of service done.
Spiritual miles, at another technological terms of Chinmaya mission, maybe connected to what Gurudev rightly said at that contest.